Blog Talk Radio.
Done so many things wrong. I don't know if I can do right. Done so many things wrong. I don't know if I can do right.
Thank you for coming to a surprise episode of Truth Talks. And I have Iconoclast in one of my chat rooms. And I wanted to let you know that I have some songs to play for you, Iconoclast. You inspired me. I found this CD. It was a used one. And, you know, one of those are a little bit hard to find in Oklahoma. And it says, Queer Songs and More, Songs from the 70s. That's like the title. Like a compilation. It's a songs compiled on the CD. So, and we might have that surprise guest that was supposed to come in. One moment. Let me put the link for him. Because I forgot to. Oops. Okay. And need to let him know it's live on Spreaker as well. All right. Waiting for some of my friends to come over. It's kind of late for them to come over. They're kind of early bodies for the majority of them. Donna, I'm so glad you made it into my show. I'm really working hard on this to the best of my abilities with the limitations that I have. I mean, this is so cool. But it's kind of hard to toggle between the two studio boards and not finding that anybody has called in yet on my BTR show. Now, there's two ways you can call in. You can call in by dialing area code 424-243-9679. And if you want to be picked up on the call, you would push the number 1, and then I'll pick you up. If you just want to listen, that is fine. But if you want to be heard, you have a topic that you want to discuss, or you have a comment on a topic that we're going to discuss, like I'm going to be talking about the possible death of software patents. I really do believe in free knowledge. I believe in that. I am a fan of that. And I think it's something that bears discussing. You know, the Supreme Court has up to, I think it's the end of July, to hear these cases. They only pick a small amount. And the Supreme Court is so much different from the federal courts. I mean, just wow. Like while you're presenting your case, the Supreme Court justices can stop you in the middle of your mid-sentence. Yes, they have the right to overtalk you and ask you a point on why you're bringing up this point, or they can criticize you right then and there. I mean, it's brutal. I really admire anybody that brings a case before the Supreme Court. It takes some nerve, some strong nerve to do that. So let me check the other chat room. So anyway, we're going to just get right into it. We're going to talk about that Supreme Court case I was just discussing. And if you guys want to talk about something else, you know, we can do that too. I'm just going to read this article. What? Yeah, I really hate it when they move things around on me. Like the pop-ups, you know? Okay. And this is from the Associated Press, so I don't know if I should really be reading it because that is copyrighted. Let me find another article that I can discuss that's not so stringent on their copyright law. Maybe I could talk about the information, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. Oh, I got to tell someone yes. We can do a show tomorrow. And if you want to do a show with me or you want to be interviewed, please let me know on Facebook or Twitter. I have someone that wants to talk about the knockout parties. It's a racial violence situation that seems to be happening. And, you know, it may be happening the other way also. But it seems to be happening with African-American people on white people. But I could see where the tables would turn quite easily. So I think it's just violence, and violence is violence, right? Okay, let me go back over here. Now I got that issue taken care of. And again, please call in by Skype or that phone number. I have a link to the BTR show that's at the very top of the chat log. If you click on that, then you can click on the little blue box for Skype. That is the only way I can figure out on how to take a call on Spreaker. And it worked very well with my friend Lydia the other day. We were talking about homeschooling a child that has autism, that has special needs. What are the challenges? What are some ways that you can de-stress the child and get the child to focus on the material at hand to make progress? And that's what it's about. Where? One moment. I really shouldn't have dead air, but because I thought I could use this. Let me check my studio. Okay. And again, thank you for the people that are coming in the chat room. Really appreciate that. Let me check Spreaker. Hey, Andy Bong. How are you? Aw, that is so sweet. Andy, I really admire your enthusiasm. When I hear your voice, I hear enthusiasm. Andy Bong has a show on Spreaker.com called The Andy Bong Show. Bong spelled B-O-N-G. Bong. Like bong. And I mean, he's full of energy. I mean, I agree with everything that he has to say. But you know what? He is full of energy. I had to drink some water. Excuse me. So let me put the link in the Spreaker chat room. There's a link to my BTR show. Now, the reason why I'm putting that on, on Spreaker is if you click on that link, it'll take you to my show on BTR. And if you want to call in by Skype, you can hit the little blue button. I can pick you up on BTR. I'm on Spreaker at the same time. I mean, I feel brilliant right now, Iconoclast. I hope you're still here. Hey, Rick. Rick has joined us in the Spreaker chat room. I really love Spreaker. It has great audio, and honestly, they kick ass. I mean, the best audio. It's really made for people that want to broadcast. And you can link up to iHeartRadio for those that are listening and BTR, or maybe you're calling in from my Facebook page. And that is awesome. It's live on my Facebook page, too, right now. Like, I have a link to it. It's got a picture, and you push the little play button, and they can listen in. Is that not cool? Oh, come on. Rick came here to hear me talk. That's why. He knows where the talent is. Rick is a smart individual. So, you know, we're friendly to every gender, including transgender. I want to make that clear. All right, one moment. I need to check the other. Okay, I do see that someone has called in. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and play that song and pull them up in the green room. Oh, no. If I pull them up in the green room, then people can hear on Spreaker, and that's not cool. Okay, one moment. I got to do one thing, and we can get this going on. Actually, I want to see if this is working. You may hear an echo for a moment. I just want to see if it's working. Like, I'll be so happy if it's working. Let's see. Can I hear myself? Is there an echo yet? It works, you guys. It works. If you're on Blog Talk Radio, I didn't know you could do this. And you put a link to your show on your Facebook page, and it's live at the time, your Facebook friends can actually hear it on Facebook, and it'll be live. I need to, wow, this is so exciting. This is so cool. So much fun. Oh, no. I'm not saying that Rick is transgender. I'm saying I'm friendly to all sexes. I do believe there's 3 different sexes, that there's men, there's women, and there's transgender. You know, I am about equality. And if you're not comfortable with that, I'm not apologizing. You know, you could take your oversensitive butt somewhere else, or you can learn. You can learn. I believe that being oversensitive is the new form of abuse. All this political correctness, where there should be some lines, you know, some lines should not be crossed. But, I mean, the Internet's a big football field. You know, you can go to another yard line. You don't have to stay and listen to my banter, though I would love for you to stay. Truly would. So, I do have a caller. I'm going to pick that caller up. Okay, one moment. Hello, caller. You're live on the Truth Talks show. If you did not mean to push 1, you don't have to say anything, and I'll put you back on mute. Would you like to talk?
Angela, yes, I would.
Oh, good. And who am I speaking with?
This is your friend Wayne Rohde calling.
Seriously? Oh, my gosh, I haven't talked to you in so long. Oh, I'm so excited. For those that do not know Wayne Rohde, I'll give you a little induction. He has a son that's on the autism spectrum, and while he was in the state of Oklahoma, he tried to get what is known as Nick's Law passed, so that the insurance companies would have to cover the therapies that are used to help individuals, especially children, with autism. I mean, right now they don't have to. They can make up their own rules. So, Mr. Wayne Rohde, what has been going on in your life recently?
Well, I was just on the checking some email, and I saw your email note to me tonight that you're going to be on. So I thought I'd call in, see how you're doing. I understand it's really cold down there in Oklahoma.
Oh, yes. We've had one of our infamous ice storms.
Yeah, well, you know, we're knee deep into it up here, up in the Great White North. So, but it's okay. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. Is that we're talking with some friends of mine down there in regards to autism issues, and I keep thinking back in the days when we were trying to get legislation passed at the Capitol and what it was about. And now that we have, 34 states plus the District of Columbia that have recognized the need for this, Oklahoma just keeps slipping back further and further. And I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. So I often think about the folks back down there and how they're doing. And I hear from people from time to time, and they're leaving the state. They're moving to other states that have insurance coverage. And it's kind of travesty that you have to move your family from one state to another, but it is happening.
Yes, it is. It is happening. I know many families that are still struggling. My daughter has been recovered. We're very fortunate, very blessed, but she had been hit by a car almost 2 years ago, and she had regressed some. And, it's getting more difficult to get what we once could get so easily. There's no words. My daughter needs eye vision therapy, and the governor, Fallon, she cut it just makes me ill. My daughter cannot get the therapy she needs, and this will affect her for the rest of her life. She's seeing double. She has a problem with the optic nerve, but yet they'll pay for some kids' braces, but they won't pay for my. I'm just my stomach turns.
And it's in this day and age when you think about what we can do medically for these kids and what we can do for each other, and then we have to play politics on top of that, and it's numbing to know that you have governors or you have senators, you have whatever deciding to play what's in the best for the party and not what's in best for the citizens of that state. And it's a shame, and I don't see it changing in Oklahoma for years. I just don't. It's the mentality is that we want to do what's in best interest for the party, not for what the citizens are. And I'm wondering when the Oklahoma citizens are going to finally rise up in enough quantity to make a decision at an election time and make that change. I still think it's coming. I was thinking 2014 or 2016, and that was back in 2008. I think it's
I remember.
coming. When we were battling in 2008 and we couldn't get things done, in 2009 we couldn't get things done, and I saw, the writing on the wall there, and I said, this state is a one-party state, and it's going to take some time before, and I was thinking 2014 or 2016 before the tide will change. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. And I really wish it would, because I have too many friends down there in Oklahoma that need these services. And I don't think anybody's asking for a handout. We're asking for insurance companies to do what they're supposed to do, and that's pay for medical conditions, cover medical conditions. And it's a tragedy.
For those that are listening, we're talking about the coverage of autism services in the state of Oklahoma. He previously was trying to get a bill pushed through to become law, and it was called Nick's Law. And if your child has cancer, your child has the treatment covered by your insurance. If your child has autism, the treatment for autism for that child to have a healthy and productive life, those services are not covered in Oklahoma because they want to pad the insurance company's wallet. They have more interest in what the insurance company can do for the politicians instead of the common good of the citizens of the state of Oklahoma. And this happens in various other states as well. Oklahoma is a sad case. They're very Republican. And I have an adage that if you want to live like a Republican, vote Democratic. So we only have 4 Democratic counties in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to live or to vote as a Democrat in the state of Oklahoma. We're a bit outnumbered. And so some of the minorities, which are the children, suffer because of such. Now, how are things in the state that you're in now?
We live in we live in Minnesota, and we left when we left in 2010. We had a decision to make to a couple different states that were very what we call autism friendly. Missouri,
right.
Which did pass legislation similar to Nick's law in early 2010. They passed it, or Minnesota, which was interesting, is because they've had insurance coverage for since 2002, but it wasn't because of legislation. It was because of a lawsuit filed by the Attorney General regarding discrimination. And when we moved up here to Minnesota, what was interesting is what I found. Several of us have been preaching is that when you pass an insurance mandate, you'll have service providers come into the state and open up for business. And yet the Speaker of the House would say, no, that's not ever going to happen. We must build this network of providers first before we pass an insurance mandate, which is a total lie. I mean, when Speaker Steele was talking about this, it was a total fabrication because that's not how economics works. Doctors and medical practitioners and specialists that your daughter needs will practice in the state when they have an income stream, a reimbursement stream, which is insurance and other mechanisms. Well, in Minnesota, they've had this insurance coverage for almost 8-9 years, and we had more therapists and access to doctors and qualified therapists within a 10-mile radius than you had in the entire state of Oklahoma. They're just tremendous up here. But at the same time, we had some issues where that lawsuit that was done in 2001, it was sundowning. The terms of the lawsuit were sundowning, so we were going to be losing insurance coverage up here. But we were able to group all the autism groups together. And this past session, we were able to pass an insurance mandate. That's taken effect January 1. And so all these kids, won't be negatively affected by it. So we're good going forward. We still have a lot of work to do, like every state does, on other issues such as employment and independent housing and ongoing medical issues. And these kids are going to become teenagers and then they're going to become adults, and how do we handle all those transitional issues, going from school to independent living to employment. Every state's got to deal with that, but I feel fortunate that we moved up to a state that actually understands and appreciates, and both parties up here understand this issue. The Republicans up here, they see it as a fiscally conservative approach to health care, meaning more people in the private insurance world means less people on taxpayer services. And then traditionally the Democrats have always wanted insurance companies to pay for all the medical conditions. So you have an interesting dynamic up here that is missing down there, where down there they're protecting, as you said, the insurance industry. They're protecting the state chamber, which is very powerful down there, instead of looking out for the citizens. And matter of fact, there was a statewide polling done in 2009, and 80% of citizens responded yes in favor of Nick's law, and over 70% of Republicans around the state, which is very, very strong message. And yet the legislature just keeps turning their backs on your child and everybody else. And it's really a tragedy is what's happened there. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be that way for a few more years. I don't see it changing.
I hear what you're saying. My goodness, it's overwhelming, if you have a child with special needs, it's draining to see that they progress and to hear those three little words, I love you, or for them to be somewhat independent as they age and age out of the system.
Right.
Now, the vaccine court, have you been following the committee hearing that was supposed to be held on the 4th?
Yes. As a matter of fact, there's been a large working group of a lot of individuals across the country trying to work in getting this done. And I've been associated with a group that actually was with Congressman Issa. We met with him.
Yes. Are you talking about the Canary Party?
Yes. That was actually started up here with a few of us back in 2000.
Yeah, Ginger.
January 2011. And there's a few of us that all put that together, and then we met up here in Minneapolis in that summer, and but from around the country and like-minded. And it's not just it's not just about vaccines. It's about food supply. It's about all fighting the medical, what I call the medical fascism of the world. And that's what the Canary Party is really about. And
right.
Whether it's food supplies, whether it's water, whether it's medicines, whatever it is, the medical establishment. That's what this whole Canary Party about. But yet we were kind of helping get these congressional hearings moving forward, and then they were postponed, unfortunately. And we're all pretty disappointed by it, but we're still moving forward thinking that there's a chance of getting it rescheduled in the future. Because I know the players, the chairman of the committee, Congressman Issa, he's very strong. He's very committed to the issue.
Yes, he's from the state of California, for those that are not familiar with Darrell Issa, who has big aspirations, I might add. There's a lot of talk about him even running on the ticket. I've heard talk about that. And Ginger Taylor, she's a person that's with the Canary Party, helped start the Canary Party. That's my understanding.
Yeah, she's the executive director.
She does a lobbying on the Hill. She does a lot of that.
Right. Her and Jennifer Larson and Mark Blaxell are the three key components. And they're spending a lot of their time in Washington, D.C. getting this thing done. And Ginger is a big part of this whole thing. Very instrumental in getting this thing moving forward.
Well, I don't think it would have been moving without her. I mean, she's well-spoken, and she gets her point across, and she knows how to get things done. She's an organizer. She's really good at that. But I'm interested, have you heard much of what COMED has been doing?
No. In regards to what?
Well, the Reverend Lisa Sykes from Virginia, she's a Methodist minister. She's done a lot for our cause. She works with COMED, and she helped found that. They've been working a lot with, the United Nations. I think it's called NV5. They have all these abbreviations for their meetings. And Dr. Boyd, is it Haiti or Haley?
Haley.
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 There's some recent videos of him talking to the UN on the behalf of quote-unquote vaccine safety. So, and to the listeners that maybe are not familiar with the cause I strive to help, or it's about making the vaccine safe. Some people talk about that it's getting the mercury out. And the mercury that we're talking about is the vaccine filler / preservative known as thimerosal.
Right.
It's 49.8% ethyl mercury. And when they say the term removal, your doctor says it's been removed, and they mean the legal term. And the legal term of removal is that they can still use thimerosal, the mercury, in production of your vaccine, your child's vaccine. But then they're supposed to filter it out. Well, you can't filter out the mercury. And that's what causes some of the permanent damage and death in some cases, along with the toxic aluminum that the everyday person's not familiar with. There's lots of different toxins and questionable additives that are added to your vaccine. So that's what
right.
we're talking about, to give a short, because I know some people may be listening that have no idea what I'm talking about. So we do have a.
Well, you bring up a good point, though. It's the not only it's the thimerosal, but it's the aluminum that works in combination.
Yes.
But, you were talking about the CDC and the FDA recommended the removal of thimerosal. It actually has not been removed. There is several vaccines that still have the full dose, your tetanus booster, but also your flu shots.
Absolutely,
and now,
that flu shot.
Right, and now that the CDC is moving forward with, they're going to be starting a very aggressive campaign next year of immunization practices for pregnant women. Guess what? This is going to be crazy stuff. When you're vaccinating pregnant women at greater numbers. And some of the work that I've been doing for the last couple of years, I'm actually trying to finish a book on the vaccine court. And
oh, wow.
I've been studying a lot of the cases, and this is where it gets really crazy, is that there is a lot of cases that have appeared in front of, or what we call petitions, in front of the vaccine court, which is really not a court. It's more of an administrative hearing process. No judges. It's special masters determine the outcome of these petitions. Several women have filed claiming injury to their unborn child at the time. Fetus,
well, yes, miscarriage, death.
Right, miscarriages, or even after the child has been born, there has been development delays or issues there. The program, if you will, is traditionally decided against these cases because in the statute of the court or the program, it says whoever receives the vaccine, and they do not recognize the unborn child as someone who receives the vaccine. The mother receives the vaccine, not the unborn child.
Right.
And now, so that's where and when the petition has been adjudicated and has been dismissed, these petitioners will then appeal, and it can make it up its way up into the federal appeal court system, and it's been upheld that way, meaning the mother is the only one that can file an injury petition. The unborn child, even though the child may be born or had a miscarriage.
Sorry to interrupt. That is a federal ruling, you said?
Yeah, it's federal decisions, yes. And this brings some things that are starting to scare a lot of people on both sides, because no one can, if you have an injury, you can't sue the pharmaceutical or the vaccine manufacturer. You have to go through the program. But because the unborn child was not a legal party, if the child is born and does have developmental issues of any sort, the child could file a civil action in federal court.
That's good.
And sue the pharmaceutical company, because the legal standing, the jurisdictions pointing to the mother. And that's where the federal government, our federal government's got great concern about right now, is that this could be a back door opening for people to actually sue the pharmaceutical industry. And there's a couple cases making its way through the court right now and through the appeals court. We don't think it's going to ever make it up into a Supreme Court ruling, but that's why they're trying to close that door, if you will, the CDC. And
it might make it to the Supreme Court. You know, I'd like to differ with you on that. They did hear the Muhammad Ali case, and they wouldn't have heard that if it did not have so much press. If we can build press around it, we can force a hearing.
Right. it's just it's going to be interesting. We're a few years away. If it ever does meander through, I think that there's going to be enough pharmaceutical pressure put on that these cases never see the light of day. Though I think that's I'm not being jaded. It's just is that I'm looking at from a realistic standpoint, and that is the pharmaceutical industry is so powerful here. I just don't know if they'll
really
make the way.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Again, for our listeners, some of them have not heard this. The vaccine court, like Mr. Rhodes said, that you do not have the right to sue your pharmaceutical company if that pharmaceutical item causes you damage, even up to death. When the Patriot Act was passed, they included this, they allowed this vaccine court to be formed and took your right away because it was, quote unquote, for the common good. Because vaccines were for the common good was the preface behind that. So that's what we're talking about with the vaccine courts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's unheard of. You know, that Patriot Act had so many things added to it that were so outlandish that this was the only way it was going to be passed. So I just wanted to say that for people that may not be familiar with our cause. So, and I try to ask anyone that calls in that we need to explain that to listeners that may not have heard our cause. Because, I mean, it's twisted.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. It's the only area in the whole United States as a citizen where you cannot sue for wrongdoing, for injury. You can for a pill manufacturer, for whatever, whether it's like Advil or something, you can sue if you receive harm against it, whether or a manufactured product, except
like a
for
car.
pharmaceutical.
If there's something wrong with the making of the car, let's say that the steering wheel locks and it's a problem with all the vehicles, usually people can sue the said manufacturer of the car for damage incurred to their body, to their being, or their child. You can't do that when the manufacturer is a drug company. I want to make that so clear to the listener that right has been taken away. You know, if cars are for the common good, bringing you the supplies for your food, your medication, shouldn't a pharmaceutical company be held to the same standard as a manufacturer of a car? It's that
What you're
simple.
talking about is the Seventh Amendment right that's been taken away from you.
And why don't you just explain to the people what the Seventh Amendment, what you mean by that?
Well, your ability to file suit and to have by jury trial. It's gone. You do not have
simple.
That. Yep.
Yeah, people talk about socialism coming, and they really don't understand what socialism is. But your rights are being taken away, and people are giving them away. They're literally giving them away. It's time for us to stand up. I'm not a Tea Party fanatic, but I believe in being heard and taking action. One day this may be your child. It may be your parent. It might be even you. Who's going to speak up for you if you have no voice? Learn. Don't just fluff it off to pseudoscience and, really look into it, educate before you vaccinate, and look at the legal ramifications of what's really going behind the phrase for the common good. And I heard that you can call into a phone number. I saw it on Age of Autism to get them to hear our case in a more timely fashion on this hearing. Did you see that? I'm looking for it.
I think to call the committee that is the Oversight, Government Reform and Oversight Committee, which Chairman Issa is, Congressman Issa is the chair, to call them and continue the pressure to do that. But Angela, it was well said what you just mentioned there. It was well said what you said. It is,
I say it over and over every single day. Any show that I'm invited to be on, I try to say, if you do choose to vaccinate, get a thimerosal-free vaccine. If your local doctor doesn't have it, go to your health department. That's something a lot of people don't know. You can go to the health department and get a thimerosal-free flu shot if that's what you're wanting. At least get the safest version that you can. You know, and safety is kind of a laugh if you think that China is the number one producer of vaccines in the world. I want you to sit and really let that sink in to my listeners. China is the number one producer of vaccines. That should make you shake. That should make you shake.
Were you following the Katie Couric Gardasil story at all?
I haven't had that much time to look at it just over the last couple of days because we had some things going on. I'm highly interested in it because Gardasil I wish people knew about the origins of Gardasil. Do you know about the origins of Gardasil?
Not as much, but I've been tracking all the 206 cases that are actually in the vaccine court.
Okay, well, go ahead and speak on it.
And to me, I think it's one of the first vaccines that is really, it's not just to prevent an actual virus disease.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's in theory, it's to stop cancer. What a lot of people don't understand is that it's not been proven. We don't know that, and we won't know that for another 10 to 20 years when these young girls that are being administered this series of vaccines will actually get into the age where women generally succumb to cervical cancer, which is in the late 40s and 50s and 60s, correct? If I'm not mistaken, that's generally when cervical cancer is prominent, is in late 40s and 50s. And so these girls
30s.
are taking...
It even starts in the 30s.
Okay, sure.
I've had friends in the 30s that had to have a full hysterectomy because of it.
Right.
It varies.
But it's all in theory, and we don't really know.
Oh, it's worse than that.
And what I've noticed is that of the girls that had to file petitions, about 50% of them, their petitions have been dismissed because the medical conditions that they did suffer from were never the ones designed or that Merck, the manufacturing of Gardasil, would declare as a known side effect. So, I've talked to mothers who their daughters collapsed in the shower and died.
Right.
I've talked to mothers the girls are almost paraplegic and they were cheerleaders the week before.
Healthy, young teenagers.
Yeah, gymnastics. There was a girl that was a senior on a state gymnastics championship team, and now she's in a wheelchair. And it was a result of the second in the series of Gardasil that she received, and a month later she's confined to a wheelchair. So they have a lot of these issues here. I wrote an article last year about the court should slow down on their adjudication process of these things because we don't know all the medical when they make decisions on these petitions in the court. Because they're trying to get them, ramrodding them through as fast as possible. And the science hasn't caught up as far as determining what the known side effects are. So, you've got a vaccine injury table that defines, okay, with this vaccine, these are the known side effects. Boom, you might mean 2 or 3 different things. Anaphylactic shock, meaning just an allergic reaction, a severe reaction to it, or encephalopathy, meaning a brain injury or something like that. But when you develop, there's a current case of two girls, they're not twins, but they're sisters, from Wisconsin. They're going through the court right now. They're claiming, and they have medical doctors that will have written testimony of ovarian failure. meaning basically they will not be able to conceive children. And because it's not on the vaccine injury table, meaning
it's not considered as damage.
You have to then go into what we call causation, and you have to prove it. Well, here's where it gets really ugly, not only for the petitioners, but also the medical experts, the doctors. The doctors are going to have to get up there and say, yes, this is exactly what's happening. But then they get the unknown pressures from their peers and from the industry, and they may be subject to...
Cry. Yeah,
and then they might be subject, if they're in a research hospital or something like this, where their research dollars might be taken away from them and things like this. So you have these pressures put on, so we're going to see how this one works out. But one of the greatest fears I have is what's going to happen when these girls, most of these girls, or even a lot of them, we've had, several million doses already administered in the United States alone, and who knows how many worldwide. When most of these girls are not in childbearing years.
They're not fully mature. Their brain has not fully developed. There's a whole slew of problems that may occur.
What's going to happen when they start having children? Are we going to start seeing the next issues in regards to birth defects and other issues with their children? We won't know that for probably another decade when majority of these girls start having children. What's going to happen to them? But no one is going to study them. There is no aftermarket studies monitoring these girls, all these millions of girls that are being vaccinated around the world right now. They're monitoring them for 1 to 2 years after the fact, okay? But not 10 years down the road or 15 years down the road when they start having children.
True.
We won't know what's actually going to happen. That's my big fear for this.
I think it's important to talk about is the beginning of Gardasil, what it was originally designed for. Have you heard of a doctor named Dr. Boyles, Boles?
Yes.
She's a local American doctor. She's on Blog Talk Radio, and I called into her show one day, and the subject was Gardasil, and she blew me away. I'll send the link to you and on Facebook of the show. Mm-hmm. It's about 8 minutes into it. And she put me on the air, and I was like, wow, that's quick, and because she was talking about different things. And she told me the origin of Gardasil, and this is hard to hear, Wayne, that it was originally designed for rectal cancer. In the 80s, men with HIV, more often homosexual men with HIV, had a high incident when they had active AIDS of rectal cancer as well, because their immune system was compromised. This Gardasil was created for that, rectal cancer. Well, surmise it to say it was not an effective vaccine. Well, Merck had spent a lot of money developing this vaccine, a lot of money. So they repackaged it, and it was delivered to our girls who were not really of age to be having regular sex. In order to have cervical cancer, it's usually called by the HPV vaccine, for my callers who do not know. There's over 100 HPV vaccines, and most, not vaccines, viruses. And normally our body gets rid of this HPV virus. Keep calling it a vaccine. And
if you have a healthy immune system, your body should be able to handle most of those, right?
Most women get an HPV virus at one point in their life. It can be from a toilet seat. It can be from sex.
Right.
It can be from a number of situations. Cross-contamination. I mean, it happens.
Right.
But I want to get this clear. This vaccine was created for rectal cancer. All of the world has been had. All of the world has been had. In Canada, in 1991, they banned it because it was killing the people who were having the vaccine. In India, just recently, it's banned. In France, you can't get it. There's no way. They will not give the Gardasil vaccine there anymore. It will not happen. There's other countries that are following suit. But I want you people that are listening to realize that this cervical cancer vaccine that's supposed to only protect against 3 HP viruses, and there's over 100, mind you, this vaccine only lasts for 3 years. It's 3 shots for 3 years for a child of 11, which, I would hope the child of 11 is not sexually active. My voice shakes. I became almost ill when I heard Dr. Bill Bull telling me all these things. And she knows what she's talking about. She had worked in the area of vaccination, especially on the Navajo reservation. And for my callers who do not know, if you're on a Native American reservation, all the rules for vaccines are tossed out the window, and they experiment on Native Americans, and they are highly susceptible to vaccine injury. My daughter, who almost died from her vaccine reaction, is 1/2 Cherokee, and I am part Menominee. I am an 16th. My mother's an 8. They're just more susceptible to vaccine injury, and just boggles the mind. Think twice before you get this vaccine for your child whose brain has not fully developed until that child is 23, your child whose reproductive system has not fully developed at age 11. What are we doing? Please think, for anyone that's listening to my show, I'm not a crazy anti-vacciner, but I do believe if you get a vaccine, you're entitled to a safe vaccine. You're entitled to valid information. You're entitled for, if you hear that they say the mercury has been removed, that's a common sense term and not the legal definition, that you don't have to look at the legal definition of removed. Or if your child has a reaction to a vaccine, that most people don't realize that you have to follow within 3 years of the date of injury. Who would believe that a vaccine would cause that much damage? I certainly was not one of those people. Now I'm really going on a roll, and I need to get back to the topic of Gardasil. Had you heard? Well, it's emotional to me because I'm a mother of a vaccine-damaged child.
So is my son. Yes.
Yes, you know my story. I know your story.
Yep.
But these people, they really need to hear in layman's terms. If your doctor says removal, this is what it means. So that's why I say it so much till I'm hoarse, because this is something I can do. I can't travel. I can't do the things I once was able to. So let's get back to Gardasil and the future of it. Where do you see Gardasil going in the United States?
Well, I understand that Merck's got a new vaccine, basically nicknamed Gardasil 2, that they're going through clinical trials now, or they're going through some additional development, and they're trying to release it. Now, my understanding is that I heard it was supposed to maybe go as many as 10 viruses up from the original 4 that the current Gardasil.
Well, that still leaves
like
90-something.
Right, but they're promoting it as that these 10 are the most prominent of the 100 or whatever. The thinking, though, that I'm looking at is if they're trying to rush this thing, what they're trying to do is get this thing out in the market to cover up all the disaster that the regular Gardasil is, what it's done, the damage that it's done.
The death, the Guillain-Barré syndrome.
If they can get all that, if they can get the new vaccine out, and it's been shown that it doesn't injure as many, probably make it a little bit more safer. Okay, then they can probably withstand the damage of that. We're going to find out what the original Gardasil did, 10 years from now in these other countries, because some of these other countries you can sue the manufacturer directly. Here in the United States you can't. So I think they're trying to rush to get it into the marketplace to cover their liability. This whole thing is this vaccine is not necessary in most cases. No. I don't see it as Dr. Diane Harper, she was on Katie Couric yesterday saying that Pap smear, the protocol for Pap smears will do a much better job at catching and detecting any type of an HPV virus, and going from there instead of subjecting. There is a known risk group, and so it's you hear when I was trying to bring up this Katie Couric issue yesterday, when she had Rosemary Mathis and a few other mothers on, Emily Tarsel, who lost her daughter, and Rosemary Mathis, I believe it's her daughter, was on with her, but I think, and then Emily Tarsel lost her daughter, and she's currently having a petition.
Do you know them?
Yes, I do. I know Emily Tarsel.
I mean, I would be welcome to interview them and let them speak. I have up to 3 hours daily.
Yeah,
and this can be downloaded to iTunes.
I will get you connected with Emily, because she is a real big advocate for the Gardasil mothers and the advocates for all the injured girls out there. Matter of fact, there's actually a few cases of some very tragic happenings with boys, because they're now licensing this vaccine to give to boys as well.
Well, I think they did that because it was originally manufactured for men. I think that's their recourse, that they can say in the production of the vaccine, when we created this, it was initially targeted for boys. I mean, had you ever even heard of some of the information I got from Dr. Boyle?
I've heard of the topic. I have not heard that she was stating that. So there's I haven't dug into that deep enough. I mean, if you want to talk about hepatitis B or MMR, I can get into there. Gardasil, because I interviewed a few families for my book as far as their experiences with the court, but that's been it. But it's been kind of, what I've noticed though is that the Gardasil community, what we consider the girls, they are maybe our best chance at voicing how dangerous these vaccines are, because they're still around to talk. Most of them can talk, whereas a lot of the autism community that are vaccine injured. Not all children with autism are vaccine injured, but those who are, a lot of them cannot communicate. My son is nonverbal, or can't communicate correctly. A lot of the girls who, he is dramatically improved in so many different areas. He's a very fun-loving kid. He's not violent. He's not threatening, not self-injurious. He'll have to be attended to, because he's not potty trained. He's 16. He's not potty trained, and he's nonverbal. But he communicates through an iPad. And he just loves to hang around, when it's leisure time. He hangs around, watches movies, or wants to sit with you and just kind of want to snuggle with you. Or he'll go out in the backyard and play and swing, and enjoys out in the backyard. But we've been able to move that needle from the very severe end to maybe closer to the moderate end. But we know our limitations.
Congratulations. I know what that is like. I know what a big deal that is. And
well, it's, every child is different. We recognize we still have hope, just like you, of dramatic improvements, and you never know. Something
can
could
happen. It can.
That's right.
And that's not throwing a false hope. It can. So well, these are real issues, people. For the people that are listening, these are real issues. Today we're talking about the Gardasil vaccine, the vaccine court, and Katie Couric's show yesterday, and all the drama that's incurred from it. So I just, wow.
I'm going to tend to leave you. I'm going to have to.
Okay.
I don't want to dominate any more time, but it was a pleasure to.
Well, it's late at night.
With you and your radio show.
I had a chance to do this. This is a new show for me to do, and If you know anybody that would like to tell their story, I'm wanting to get the stories out there because the more they're heard, and then the more people talk about it, maybe they'll really look at their vaccine schedule, and decide which ones they want for their child or to get a thimerosal-free vaccine, and look at the problems with the MMR, with the aluminum that's in the MMR, just to really know what they're hearing and talking about. That's my passion. And this Blog Talk Radio, it goes on iTunes. You can download it to your iPod. There's lots of different ways to hear this. I'm uploading some of the shows to YouTube. I'm also on Spreaker.com. And through Spreaker, I can get on iHeartRadio. We can reach a lot of people. And there's more people that can do this type of format that I'm doing. But, let it begin with me, and I'll show some other people how to do it. Like the Thinking Moms are interested, the Thinking Mom Revolution. So I want to get them in there.
That's a great group of people.
And have a panel of ladies, and then help them start their own. Because it only costs $40 a month on Blog Talk Radio to do this. It only costs $20 on Spreaker.com. Just think $20, and then you can get on iHeartRadio as well. And then that $20 goes away. And you can have up to, I think, 5 hours a day on Spreaker. That's a lot of knowledge. That's a lot of listening. Everybody downloads different podcasts from iHeartRadio. So the people that you talk to, I really highly encourage you to, send them a link to my Facebook. I'll talk to them, or just having them look at it. I'll help guide them through it to learn how to upload the audio clips and promote themselves. It's a good way to get the word out there. What do you think of that, Wayne?
That's the way to do it. But, why don't they just start with your show first? You've been out there doing it, and I've sent you a message
radio's my
here
background. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you do have a knack for it. I can tell that you know how to speak and be a good host. So
and I
was just telling you that I just sent you a message how to contact Emily Tarsel.
Great.
I know she would come on in a heartbeat.
I think that's wonderful. I need to build up an audience. That's one thing I need. I need people to repost it, retweet it, and all that good stuff. And I am so happy that you came on, Wayne. This is Mr. Wayne Road, formerly of Nick's Law from Oklahoma, doing the right things for the common good instead of, I can't even get the words out. I'm honored to have you on. It's a true honor. I haven't talked to you probably in about 2 years, I think it's been. Kind of got off Facebook for a while, and, we spoke previously, and it's a true honor to have you on here, and I thank you for that. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Wayne?
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity. Take care.
Okay, thank you so much again. That was Mr. Wayne Road. And I thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, folks. It's me and you and the truth. I really appreciate that Mr. Wayne Road called in. He's a wonderful individual, as is his wife, and the care he's done. He's done so much for the real common good. So much for the real common good. If anybody wants to call in, they have a thought that they might have. Maybe there's something they want to sound off about. I would really appreciate that. Also, if you're listening from my Facebook page, if you do a show like this and you put a link in your Facebook page, all of your friends can listen that's on your Facebook, be it 20 people that you have on your friend list or 5,000. If it reaches just one person, it matters. This is Truth Talks. We talk about topics that are passionate for you, that reveals the truth in this hidden society that we live in. I think it really is a hidden society, and we need to get the truth out there. Abraham Lincoln once quoted, he was quoting someone else, but everybody says it was him, that truth is the best defense. And ladies and gentlemen, we really need a defense because we're being attacked on so many different levels, not to sound like a conspiracy theory, but this is the truth. Guys, this is the truth. I'm not to raise my voice. I should lower it. We are being attacked and told a whole different reality than what truly exists. Like that little nasty word, removal. You know, my daughter, she's half Cherokee. And removal. You know, removal to Oklahoma. The Trail of Tears. Such a nasty connotation. There's so much in her word. When they said they removed the mercury out of the vaccines, I want to say this again. They meant the legal term removal. In pharmaceutical world, when they say removal, this is what they mean. We will use the vaccine filler / preservative, thimerosal, in the production of your child's or your parent's vaccine. At one point, we will, quote unquote, filter it out, which is a form of chelation. It's really not filtering it out; it's covering it up. They cover up like a dog covers up a bone. They cover up the thimerosal in the vaccine. I mean, this is the truth. And then they say it's been removed. Well, the mercury is still there, and it's ethyl mercury. There's ethyl mercury, and then there's ethyl meet methyl mercury. And there are different chemical base. You know, this is where I get a little unsteady, because I'm just a mom that wanted to keep her child safe. So the legal term removal is not what you and I may think. If they removed it, in my mind, it means they didn't use it. Removal means that they removed it from the list of ingredients, right? Right? No, that is not right. That is not what they mean. They mean that they're going to use it, and then they're just going to cover it up. And you're never going to know the difference. Your child may be screaming for a day or two after the vaccines. Your child may have seizure after seizure. Your child's intestines may bleed out into his or her diaper. Your child's muscles may become floppy. Your child may die. All because of that little term removal. Because they did not give you fair knowledge. I call it fair knowledge to know what you're getting. They give you a slip of side effects. They give you a slip of what may happen. And then the doctor tells you that thimerosal is removed. Thimerosal meaning that the ethyl mercury is in it. 49.8% ethyl mercury. And it's a small part of the vaccine. But I want my listener to know this. That small part of thimerosal, that small part of ethyl mercury, that same amount that they put in your child's vaccine cannot be put in your dump legally. If your dump knew that you were putting thimerosal in it, you would be locked up. It's illegal to do that. But they put it in your child's vaccine. In your 8-pound baby. And the test that they run on these vaccines is not for an 8-pound baby or a 14-pound baby, but for a 90-pound individual. 90 pounds. So I want you to think about that. I want you to prepare yourself for the truth, because it's hard to hear. And then you have to make decisions on how you're going to react to the truth. I welcome all callers. Even if I do not agree with what you have to say, if you want to say that I'm an anti-vaccine nut, please come on. I welcome the conversation. And even if I do not agree with you, I value your words. Your words have value here. I'm not going to say you're an idiot or just hang up on you. I want to have a conversation. And let's begin it here with you and I. Maybe it's just with you listening and me talking. And we're going to start our conversation that way. Maybe it's with you calling in. Just for future knowledge, my guest call-in number when I'm live is 424-243-9679 if you're in the States, Again, it's 424-243-9679, or you can call in by Skype. If you're in Australia, you can call in. UK, you can call in. And I will give you a voice. In all cases, you would need to push the number 1 on your dial pad on your phone or the dial pad on Skype. There is if you click where the files are, it will say dial pad. You click on that and just push the number 1 and you're in. Or I'll pull you up into the green room and see if you want to be heard. Some people do not know to push the number 1 on this platform. There's many different platforms that can be used. You can use Blog Talk Radio. You can use Spreaker.com. There are some autism sites that have podcasts that you can do. But Blog Talk Radio does have the biggest audience. Spreaker.com is like the supernova that's happening. It has the best audio, but it does not have a call-in number. So I try to use both simultaneously so that people on Spreaker.com can hear you as well. My goal is to get on iHeartRadio. And also you can get this downloaded from iTunes, this episode and other episodes. I highly recommend Alan Phillips. He's an attorney that works in vaccine injury or for people that want to use vaccine waivers. Say you're a nurse and you do not want to get the flu shot. Maybe you have an egg allergy. There's egg whites. There's eggs in the flu shot. He deals in that realm. He has a show on Blog Talk Radio. It's called Know Your Vaccine Rights. Highly recommend that. People like Dr. Mayer Einstein is on there. Dr. Paul, King. He's of COMED, brilliant scientist. You know, I look forward to have people on like Ginger Taylor of the Canary Party. The Reverend Lisa Sykes of COMED. They work with the United Nations. The United Nations is more friendlier with this cause of safe vaccines than our own country. I mean, we really need to look at it from a other world perspective. At the Mercury Conference of October 2011, which COMED was a party to because they helped Kenya, who was holding the meeting, apply for this meeting. And it was called the Mercury Conference of 2011, held in Nairobi, Kenya. I want to get the story out because I love this story. She should be a doctor. The Reverend Lisa Sykes, she's a Methodist minister in Virginia, has a child that had suffered a vaccine injury. So the Methodist Church, which is the only affiliation that took a stand against thimerosal, the Methodist Church, Dr. Lisa Sykes, there was a meeting of the minds, and COMED, which is spelled big C, little O, big M, little E, big COMED. It's a coalition against mercury in the medications, basically. They got together and they started COMED. And since America, the Congress was not listening, they went to the United Nations. And this is my understanding. And I've known Lisa for a number of years. Wonderful person. So they started applying to the United Nations to be heard, which is really not that difficult to do. But you have to have something backing up what you're saying. I got to make that clear. At this Mercury Conference of 2011 in Nairobi, in the country Kenya, 54 delegates from all over the world that were representing their country physically stood up. I want to put you in this room. I want you to see these 54 people standing up. I want to tell you why they were standing up. They wanted to hear from COMED about their studies, about their knowledge, truth. And there was two other representatives of two other entities. One was the CDC of America, and the other was the WHO group, which is the World Health Organization, which is basically based in America. The lady from the WHO representative was so upset that they were going to hear from COMED, for she was saying it was pseudoscience, that what they have to say did not matter, that it had no validity, it had no meaning. But as I know and many others know, COMED is brilliant. COMED is not based on studies on vaccines that were done by a person that's a wanted fugitive. That's another story. Okay, let's go back to this room. So Reverend Lisa Sykes is there, and the other people from COMED that were with her. And we got the WHO representative. We got the CDC representative. And the WHO representative, who was a woman, whose name I forget, was getting more and more upset. And as a side note, in the United Nations, in a meeting, if you disagree strongly with what is being said and you're standing up at a podium, you walk out of the meeting. You physically walk out as a form of protest instead of screaming or hitting your hand on the podium like they would in Congress. She asked the Reverend Lisa Sykes this question: do you have a child that is vaccine injured? That's what she said. And the Reverend Lisa Sykes, the great Reverend Lisa Sykes, says yes. Because that was the truth. That was the truth. The woman from the WHO group, the World Health Organization, becomes even more upset. And do you know what she does? She not only walked out of the meeting, folks, she physically ran. She physically ran out of that meeting. The truth will make them run. When the light of truth is exposed, the cockroaches will run. And there, my dear friends, was a cockroach, that representative from the WHO organization, the World Health Organization. And the Reverend Lisa Sykes was still standing. Let the truth stand. Let all parties be heard, and let the truth stand. Thank you for listening to this episode of Truth Talks. Please join me next time. Share this post. Share it on Twitter. Go to iTunes. I'll have to post where it is on iTunes because I can't remember. You can download it to your iPod. You can share it with a friend. Don't walk in my shoes. I am a mother of a vaccine-damaged child who, by the grace of God, is recovered. And that's the way I look at it. And tomorrow, we'll hear another story of truth, story of courage, story of inspiration. Let us all respond wisely. Educate before you're vaccinate. Thank you for listening to me. I thank you.
Done so many things wrong. I don't know if I can do right. Done so many things wrong. I don't know if I can do right. sun was in time.